Hi, this is Doug Manch, and you're listening to Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast.
Hello, Looney listeners. Welcome back to episode 128 of Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. You are with a couple of high priests of Khonshu, and it is Ray. I am here, and joining me this episode is none other. It's great to have back Rebecca. Rebecca, hello.
Hi Ray, good to be back. I could say I kind of zoom in. It's like as often as like Moon Knight has little comic runs, I just pop back and go hi.
Yeah, that's it.
So no one forgets the character. So you still have the copyright on my name and stuff like that.
That's right. We have to we have to use you every so often to make sure we don't lose the license.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, but it's really cool to have you back. This is a new year, 2020. This is the first episode of 2020 for Into the Night. Looking forward to it. Rebecca, we had a little chat just beforehand, but had a good end of year, start of year.
I had a very good end of year. I went to Cambodia for a couple of weeks, which was very nice. Came back, had crazy, and then pretty good. And Christmas and that, and computer broke. We got a hole in the ceiling.
Yeah.
Had a cold, but little things.
Yeah.
No, but generally it's fine. It's just, if we don't count things like the British election and Brexit, which we don't talk about. It's good to be in the new year, and I hope it isn't as bad as the last one.
Yeah, I don't know where you stand as well with it, Rebecca, but this morning over here we heard of the big news with the Royals. There's a bit of something happening there with Meghan and Harry. Meghan. And
No, I don't care about the Royals.
Okay, cool. It seems to be.
I'm very happy for them to go do whatever they want as a nice young married couple.
Yes.
I don't care about the institutions of the royal family, and I think she has been treated ridiculously badly over here, and she's being treated ridiculously badly on Twitter, and the press are horrific, and now they're using it to hide any bad news stories about Brexit. So it's all ignoring, heavily ignoring. Very happy for everyone to go do what makes them happy.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
not be told what to do by anyone else.
Yeah, no,
so
absolutely.
When I say I don't care, it's not that I wish them any bad luck. If I could move to Canada, I would also move to Canada.
Beautiful country.
But it's another reminder of some of the worst of my country. So it's, along with Brexit, it's not very pleasant to follow any of the news of it. So I've been staying out.
Sounds like you've been dodging a lot of landmines in the UK there with the tabloids and just the news and such. So that's a bit unfortunate. We have the, as everyone probably knows, we have the fires over here. All going, still going. Volunteers. Actually, at work today, they've released, because I work at a university, and the Vice Chancellor released a message to everyone, with special leaves and stuff, that in case you are volunteering or in case you are part of, you have to, engage if you're part of the services and you need to be called up, all that. So it's really, it's really
a big deal.
It has ramped up over here a lot. So
well, I'd like to say on behalf of the rest of the world, we're watching and we have every sympathy. And wish we could do more. I think it's also. In another slight against my country, I cannot believe that we have not done more to help. I think it is no. I think I'm just gonna say it, we go on about this whole Commonwealth thing.
Oh, okay, yes.
And what is the point if we're not one of the first there?
True,
as
you're right.
one of the wealthier members. not saying we will do everything we can for you guys. So
That is a good point. Yeah, I mean,
I think it's another shameful. I mean, of all the shameful moments in our history right now going on in the UK, I think that's another one. And I'm personally have emailed my MP to ask him why we are not supporting our Commonwealth, our fellow Commonwealth. Because it's one of the world's biggest natural disasters at the moment, and people are just watching it unfold. Or so if there was anything more we could do for you,
yes,
I wish we could do it for you. But it is. I can only imagine how overwhelming it is. To be part of it right now.
Oh no, absolutely, and all the sympathies go out there to the families affected, to people involved,
of course, yeah,
and to a huge amount of respect to I mentioned as well, to the real heroes in our world, the likes of the firefighters and everyone, even those that live, the locals that are doing their darndest to help others, to kind of save wildlife, property, everything like that.
Everything.
Listeners, in case you are wondering, you have not come across the anti-UK podcast. This is the ITK podcast.
I do love my country. I know, We're just having a very rough time right now.
Yeah, for sure. So. Anyway, Rebecca, we're here. We are doing a LUNAR-PICK review, a new comic book review. So Rebecca and I have joined forces to look at the latest issue of Moon Knight in comics, which is Conan Serpent War issue 3. But before we get into that, just a little bit of housekeeping. I would like to say that this, I'll call it this month's episode, or this month, sorry, not episode, is brought to you by a few new Patreon members. Now, we've just started this at Into the Night, our Patreon page, and Drive. It's going well. I'd like to, a big thank you to Wayne, Josh, and James for jumping on board. Wayne, the first ever member. Thank you, Wayne. Wayne has been on the show.
Wayne.
Yeah, he's a gem. We'll dedicate this episode and this month's episode to you guys. Thank you so much, Patreon members. Now, of course, you can support this show just by sharing it through word of mouth, or listening, or liking, or sharing it on the social platforms. But if you do feel so inclined to, to pull out the hip pocket, chuck a bit of coin our way, it would be very much appreciated. There's a page there. It's all in the show notes. Just check it out. We're hoping with this extra assistance, Rebecca, to expand the show a bit more. It will just give us a little bit more leverage as to what we can do on the show.
Yes. You can have the outtakes of me swearing.
Yes, exactly.
That's what me and Ray were just discussing. But I'd like to say thanks to Josh and James as well. I said thanks to Wayne for being the first, but thanks to Josh and James as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss you guys out. I mean, because Ray's already said thank you to you all. But yeah, no, I mean, look, there's lots of things we can talk about expanding the podcast, and sure. And they can get expensive to run. I hear. I know that I generally just pop onto other people's podcasts, but that there is an incurred cost to them. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool, and we'll see how it goes. Look, we're just testing the waters. It's an opportunity. But rest assured, whatever the outcome, we'll keep this. We'll keep the podcast running. Certainly, since the TV show is around the corner, so can't wait for that. And comic series. Also, just want to mention. Now, we've mentioned before, Painted Monk's Library. It's a comic book reviews website hosted by Wally Monk. And we have collaborated with them to undertake a massive project to review every single Moon Knight issue in article form. That was released early January 6th, and our first ITK scribe, Russell Moran, he kicks us off with Werewolf by Night, issue 32. So, again, in the show notes, check it out. It's a great read. Russell is a good reviewer. He knows his stuff. Check it out. Also, as well, in the show notes, Painted Monk's Library have their very own review of Serpent War number 3. So if you want to learn more after Rebecca and I take this apart.
Yeah. Is that the one you put up on Facebook this morning?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, cool. I had a quick read.
You had a quick
It
read?
It was a good review. Yep.
It was a good review.
Yeah.
I'd say just kind of aligns with what we all just
yeah. I mean, you always say things are a good review when you agree with them. Like, it's not true. It's easier to say it when you agree with them. You can generally tell if something's a good review whether you do or not. I'm just being flippant, but yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I actually know the writer to that, Bobby Freeman. I think he writes that article. He is actually a Conan scholar of some sort. He's quite well versed in Conan, so he obviously looks at it from the point of view of Conan. It's a good read. So check it out. Now, before we get into the review, Rebecca, I just had a little trawl with news. There's only one bit of news. I don't know. I'm not sure. Have you been reading at all or following the history of the Marvel Universe?
No, I was waiting to buy it in trade. Well, I know a couple of things about it, but I was waiting to buy it in trade because it seemed like the kind of thing that would be a good trade buy. There's a couple of things that they've dropped in about the future that I'm a little bit concerned about.
Oh,
but
like
I
what?
didn't know about this one. Well, they say, this is going to sound pathetic. Nobody mock me. They mentioned Tony Stark marrying Emma Frost, which I'm not.
Wow, really?
I'm not on board with, like, from either side. But anyway,
it just sounds so random, so it has to be true. You know?
I don't like them, and this is going to sound weird given what we're about to talk about, but I'm not sure I like them boxing in like what the future holds, because like we've had and the truth is we've had so many futures. Like, I can name 3 different Captain Americas of the future and 3 different Sorcerer Supremes of the future. So and everyone likes the one they like. So I don't know. But anyway, so the one you're going to mention is...
Oh, look, I certainly know where you're coming from, Rebecca, as well. But, I mean, so the one that I'm alluding to is apparently in issue 6 of the history of the Marvel Universe, there's some talk of Galactus talking about the futures, and he mentions the Age of Khonshu. So, one moment. To cough there, Rebecca.
That's fine.
I was very tentative. I was about to cough any second. Anyway, so there's talk of the Age of Khonshu in this, and that has opened up a few speculations as to whether there'll be something similar to the Age of Apocalypse or the Age of Ultron. Will 2020 hold a huge event akin to the Age of Khonshu? I don't know. What are your thoughts, Rebecca?
Yeah, I'd like to think it wouldn't be like Age of Ultron, but because that was so weird. I mean, like, in terms of, it was very specific as well. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, like, Khonshu's not really interacted with a lot of other people.
He has.
So it's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I keep like going in and out, and we'll probably hit on some of this when we talk about the comic.
Yes.
About how portrayals of Moon Knight have been in the recent year or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know if I feel more nervous about anything Moon Knight centered than not. Or excited about it. Like, I would like to be still excited.
Yeah.
I'm just pulling up the panel of the Age of Khonshu.
Yeah, there's a whole heap of stuff that
So we've got the King in... Oh, it's the same page. The Wedding of Emma Stark and...
Yeah, okay.
Tony Foster. Right, the Age of Khonshu is the first one mentioned.
Yeah. And
the Interstellar Reign of the Half-Breed, well, we know that's coming.
Yeah.
The King in Black we've got. In case anyone doesn't know what any of these are, we can get... So, the Wedding of Tony Stark and Emma Frost, the Rise of the Outlaw Generation. So, these are all events for next year, definitely. So, we've got...
Well, this year, yeah?
Yeah, this year, sorry.
Yeah.
Empire, Outlawed...
Yes.
Thor and
that's right, you're right.
Surfer. So where the hell... So now I'm even more concerned about the Tony Stark thing.
Yeah, because surely they're rubbing shoulders here with actual events that we know of. So
the tragic fate of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones's second child.
Oh.
The Defenders of Tomorrow. Sounds cool.
This could be all a manifesto. Just be a manifesto for this year. It'd be great.
Threadneedle, no idea. Warbird, nice. The Fate of Mephisto, that's coming as well.
Yep. Oh, this all harks true, you know. So
the Age of Khonshu is the weird one, and the picture they've got is weird as well.
It is weird. There's a crescent moon on someone's face, right?
It looks more like Mephisto than Mark Spector.
Oh yeah, I don't think
it's not.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's got that same angular face as Mephisto's often drawn with. Like, it's clearly not.
So, I mean, unless this is kind of like unless this connects to Jason Aaron's talk of Moon Knight a lot, this certainly is something that is coming up this year. I'd take it probably. I mean, we're already inundated with Empire and Outlawed coming out as well. It might be the second half of the year. I don't know, but
yeah, because we've also got Iron Man 2020.
Oh, yes, that's right, the big one.
Up till June.
Yeah.
So anything that happens with Tony can't be till the second half of the year.
Yeah.
Right. So they say it's a picture of Khonshu in his human form.
Oh, who says that? Is that there?
The article.
Oh, the
I
article.
pulled up
Okay.
to show me the page.
Yeah.
I just pulled up a random article with the page. They say it's Khonshu in his human form rather than his usual animal avatar, which suggests he might take on a host possibly through possession. I'm not sure it does suggest that. It might just suggest he manifests as human. But whatever, It doesn't matter either way. It would explain the human face.
I mean, so they would be slowly planting the seeds, and I guess we'll get to with the review. I mean, even before then, Conan Serpent War issue 1, say Rebecca, and issue 2, there were little bits of Khonshu there. Let's talk about it as well. There was also the Cullen Barn, the annual,
which probably had more of a sense of setting up an Age of Khonshu, given that it was doing like Moon Knights through the ages. And a
very different Khonshu, right? It is pretty much front and center. There's no ambiguity or no mystery.
These are all the things that are slightly unnerving. It's like, oh look, you've put the page on. I didn't see the page in the show notes, so I went to look it up. But these are all the things that leave me a little bit not worried, just I guess unsettled. Like all these things I've been so sure of are now okay. We're changing it, and like I accept that comics need to change, and it'll I'm willing to give it a go. But it just feels a little bit like things are going to change that I'm not sure about. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of... It is a little bumpy, isn't it? Like this whole resetting, it is always unnerving. I always find it. And look, Max Beamers did it with the Moon Knight series, as that travelled along. Moon Knight, again in issue 3 and in Conan Serpent War, he comes across more. I find him more as a bit of like the Doug Mensch Moon Knight. Is a little bit more quippy, not as quippy as Damnation, but is a bit more lighter. And I mentioned in the notes a bit more informal.
They've definitely made him lighter and less serious. And I don't know if that's to try and move away from the obvious comparison that I'm not going to mention for once.
Yeah.
But it also they've done the same to Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to me because like you can actually read some comics that are like if you went from like Spider-Man to Iron Fist to Moon Knight, and like there's not that there's no difference. Spider-Man's definitely the quippiest.
Yeah.
And then Jason Aaron, I would say, makes him a bit too much even for Spider-Man. Oh. So it's the only thing. It's like the only character I'm not enjoying when Jason Aaron writes. I just find
when did he
things
write?
a little.
When did he write?
In
War of the Realms.
War of the Realms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not hating it, but it has that same sense. And like I've usually only got it from like Iron Fist and Moon Knight. Is this a bit too quippy? To get it for Spider-Man is a little bit like, okay.
He's got to be really,
sometimes
really
these people have to take these things seriously. They're like fighting huge, like and I don't know. They seem to. And it's weird because I do the Iron Fist podcast as well, to feel that they're having the same issues and across different writers of like quipping up. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, hopefully, eventually, we'll get this new Moon Knight run. There'll be a settling period and we get a bit, and the same with Iron Fist, we get a bit more sort of demarked characterization. I think since the Lemire run, there was always going to be a weird period of adjustment where people decided where to go with Moon Knight, and we're not quite there yet. It's like when I described Bemis Experiment as like sort of throwing things at it to see what stuck.
Yeah, it was very experimental.
But I don't think which I like. I don't mind experimental. Like you have to allow things to fail.
Yes.
To get some of the brilliance, and but I don't think. anything we've had since has come out and said, no, this is a new definitive statement on Moon Knight.
No.
It's like they're still sort of treading water and trying to finding it, and it's like you almost want someone to come in and like not see what audience. It's almost like they're testing audience reaction. And I kind of want them to come out and say, this is what we're doing, whether you hate it or not. And hopefully Age of Khonshu might be enough of a big deal to do that.
Well, I mean, so, I think he needs, this probably sounds obvious to all the Looney fans out there. I think he needs his own title to really get sucked into it, because with Contagion and with this Conan Serpent War as well, when he's kind of part of an ensemble, he tends to, and look at Damnation earlier, a couple of years ago, he tends to resort or revert to this very kind of generic, I find very uninteresting, but the likes with Bemis and say Lemire and solo title series, I think there's just a lot more scope for him, and he can even be quippy there, but like at least that it doesn't come off as disposable as when he seems he's in a team. Yeah.
Which reminded me that I actually liked him in Contagion more than the other stuff, I think. He wasn't in it very much. I mean, he was barely in it. But I liked him at least coming in, using his expertise, his areas of expertise, having people listen to him. Yeah.
But that was good. Yeah, that was good. He actually...
I mean, it was just like... and I know that there are issues with like the fact that the Iron Fist got that for half of it and then just kind of dropped off. But I kind of like that Moon Knight show, but they didn't just treat it. They made little jokes about the mental health and stuff, but he came in and sort of said, "Look, I'm the person who has the expertise in dealing with this," and they were like, "Oh yeah, you actually do. Let's do your plan," and it worked. And so that says a lot about whether I trust Ed Brisson with the run. And he also
that was Ed Brisson, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did an extremely good Iron Fist run.
Oh, he did. I love the Iron Fist run. Although I'm slightly.
But he did something. He did kind of what we need for Moon Knight now, which is taking all this disparate Iron Fist stuff that's been written and getting back to the last big run and making it work from there. Then he kind of went back to Immortal Iron Fist and bridged over to that and didn't sort of retcon too much and stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're certainly being kind of prepped for, I guess, down the track, however Age of Khonshu or Moon Knight is depicted as. It looks like he's coming out as, I guess, two things. It looks like we're going to get to me, I'm going to call it more of the classic Moon Knight, more of the he's focused, he's driven, but he's not brooding, he doesn't mind the odd smart aleck comment. I think we'll see more of that sort of Moon Knight, and we'll see more of Khonshu being more of a thing, like being more. Yeah, I mean, I think
Khonshu is at this point now is a real thing.
Yeah, is no longer just a potential figment of Mark's imagination.
I think that's the one thing they have come out and not said, but I think that's we are taking away that ambiguity at least for you,
which is a little bit of a shame. I don't know.
It's a little bit of a shame, but at some point, you almost need it to. It's like as you get better about talking about the mental health and stuff, you also have to worry, like, why is he not seeing anyone? He's a rich guy. He can like go see all the doctors and say, and maybe Khonshu always was real, and now we're just dealing with it. So I don't mind things like that changing if it works. Currently, I'm not entirely sure it's working, but I think it could.
Look, to tell you as well, I think someone would be great to take on Moon Knight if they're going to go down that route is Greg Pak, because
for sure.
I've been reading the older run of the Incredible Hercules, and the way he it's
my favorite
beautiful.
Run, one of my favorite runs.
So good. The way he handles the different mythologies. And he pays homage to them as well. It's not just like, this is Hercules, he's just a strong guy. No, he actually goes back into the details to actual.
I think it's
Greek mythology.
That's actually the run that made me go, I really like Hercules.
It is so good. It is very good. Yeah. And so if he could do something like that to the Egyptian mythology and Khonshu, I think that would be really good. I'm very interested in the Egyptian side, like the deity side of Moon Knight. I think
I think that's probably where they're heading.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's not really been explored before.
No.
We've got the new status of the Greek gods.
Yeah.
We've got the cosmic Greek pantheon. And we're heading for a lot of cosmic stuff. And we've got so we know Hercules is going to be showing up. Is it in Guardians? Yeah, I think Guardians.
Yeah, is he? I can't wait. I have to know when and where, because he's
I think it might be Guardians 1. I think the Greeks are showing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if not, I'm sure some art's been shown of you know what? It wasn't Hercules that was shown. I think it was Zeus.
Okay.
But the extrapolation is there.
I love,
especially as Al Ewing's the one who got that all started.
Yes,
that whole
with No Road Home and all that.
With no road, right. So Al Ewing. So I think Al Ewing. That's when we might see the Greek pantheon again, which opens it up for getting the Egyptian pantheon in as well. So I think we're going there. I think that's. I mean, and that's Age of Khonshu. That's immediately what that makes you think. So it's just a case of now placing Mark in a position and. Keeping what we have of him and not losing too much of that, of him being quite smaller scale and with the tight friendship circles and Marlene and now Beatrice and whatever, because we kind of he's a bit of a family man, kind of as well, he's got those sides. So,
and you can cater to her all as well. I guess you don't have to totally ignore one aspect in order to focus on the other. So, I'd love to see more of Marlene, Beatrice, even Frenchie, his family, Samuel's, Netta, all of that sort of stuff.
They're all family. I count them as family, don't worry. Gina the lot. That's what I mean. It's the Moon Knight family. It's it doesn't mean his actual family.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to see that much more of his actual family if we're going there, but
yes. I'd like to see more Randall, but anyway.
No, of course, I'd like to see him, but not as all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, but I mean the ones of his friends and stuff.
Yeah. And just one other small little thing, because I can't let it go, about Cosmic Hercules and the Greeks. I love it. Rebecca, I was reading Bob Layton's 1984 Hercules, when he's riding around in Apollo's chariot in space. It is so much fun. He's with this Rigelian not even an android, Rigelian robot who is like the human, is like a recorder, and he's recording his travels. Anyway, so he's riding in space, and he's on this chariot, and the recorder says, "How come you can speak and breathe like in space?" And Hercules is like, "Why not? I'm a god." So and he has all these funny adventures, from capturing people who have been ransomed to. It's just a lot of fun. It's so lighthearted, and I think it captures that essence of the really fun. Outgoing Hercules.
We love him. I want him back so badly.
I can't wait for him to come
back. What a surprise! Me and Ray got distracted to talk about Hercules. If you don't know, one of the reason we met was one of the reasons we met was talking Hercules.
Oh, absolutely. He's very good, and so Egyptian mythology. Let's bring all the gods together. I love it.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's have a big war of gods. Why not? We're going to build up to it if we start. So
have you read Chaos War? I want to. I haven't read that yet.
You know what? I think I have, but not for a long time.
Okay, because that was all the gods.
Maybe I'll go back to it.
Yeah. I think that was a Japanese god. Mishu. I won't even attempt to name, but he was. I think he attacked the Greek gods. And anyway, it sounds a lot of fun. Anyway, so moving on, we have Night Watch, which. For those loonies that want to know where Moon Knight pops up and you want to complete your collection, of course, he's in Conan Serpent War number 3.99 at your local comic book store. Rebecca, this was cool. I might pick this one up. It's for $1. It's True Believers. It's titled Criminally
I've ordered
Insane.
it.
Oh, you did? Okay. And it's focusing on Bushmen, so I think it's probably it's obviously a Moon Knight issue, but it's
part of their let me look it up because I'm on the white page for it.
Under the Criminally Insane, right?
It's for the launch of that Ravencroft.
Right.
They're kind of like Arkham Asylum version of the Marvel universe, whatever they're doing with that. But the fact they're doing Bushmen implies that it's a reprint of Moon Knight #1 from 1980.
Okay. Oh, that's a nice meaty roll of Bushman there. So,
yeah.
anyone unfamiliar?
But it's interesting. It's interesting the ones that they picked. Like, see if I've got them. True Believers, Criminally Insane. Because it's an interesting mix. Because I was interested. It's always cool to see people like Bushman pick up.
Yeah, some weird villains, right?
Because they've got Claw.
A Claw, that would be cool.
Dracula, the Mandarin, Purple Man, Gypsy Moth, the Absorbing Man, Bullseye, the Masters of Evil, and the Green Goblin.
Oh, Masters of Evil would be fun.
Yeah, so I mean, who knows what we're going to get from that? But that's all part of the this Ravencroft thing that they're launching.
I think that probably just the success of that Absolute Carnage. A lot of other Scream has come out as well. I mean, a lot of these Venom symbiote characters have been reborn, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think, and probably if people wanted to go and explore some of the edgier side of the Marvel universe, but it is an interesting thing, and it's interesting that Bushman. That's another sign for you that Moon Knight is coming to slightly prominence, because if you look at all the people that are the enemies of, they're bigger names than Moon Knight generally.
Oh yeah, no, I know it seems a little odd in it, but that's. But
he's
a
great baddie.
He is good, yeah.
So,
he should have a mini series or something. Just how Taskmaster and Hobgoblin have had their own. I
was about to say Yondu has one at the moment. So if Yondu can sustain one, Bushman probably could.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But that's my disregard for Yondu. Sorry, Yondu fans.
Is that the Yondu?
I hear it's good, but I'm just have no interest in Yondu. So.
Is that the Yondu MCU Yondu or the real Yondu from?
I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm not going to waste money buying something I'm not that interested in.
Yeah, Yondu. Yeah.
But it is supposed to be good, as is the Morbius run. So new Morbius one.
Yeah, I've only read the first two, but I really enjoyed that. So that might be a trade buy. I don't know. I'm actually yeah. And finally here we have Marvel Monograph. It's the art of Declan Shalvey. So $19.99 at your retailers. This is a collection of Declan Shalvey's works, I believe. And he's highly successful with Moon Knight, with Warren Ellis. So that would be a good pickup as well.
Yeah.
I'm
That's Moon Knight on the front cover, so
Yeah. Oh well, I think that run with Ellis really did cement Shalvey, I think, as within Marvel at least, as a really great artist of his right. So I'm assuming a lot of sketches in there, a lot of unpublished work. So go check it out. It might be worth buying. I don't know if I've got enough money. I don't have money these days, but anyway. Alrighty. Well, how about Rebecca? We'll take a quick short break. We'll hear from a couple other great shows out there in podcast land. And when we come back, we'll get stuck into Conan Serpent War 3. So,
perfect.
See you soon.
The devil was once the most beautiful and favored of all the heavenly host. But once infected with the sin of pride, he was cast out of the Lord's sight into the farthest depths of hell. In his humiliation, the devil raged, "'Tis better to rule in hell than serve in heaven. My offspring, the October Pod, will one day conquer mankind and all the Lord's works. And so, reborn once each month at 1:38 a.m. by man's reckoning of time, the October Pod rises from its slumber, seeking what bold individualists it may devour." Edward October presents October Pod, a terrifying spook show. Available now on YouTube, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, and at OctoberPodVHS.com. October Pod, retro horror for bold individualists.
WhenItWasCool.com is your source for the best in retro pop culture. When It Was Cool features articles and podcasts on retro TV and movies, toys, action figures, pro wrestling, food, video games, and more. Hit the Patreon button to support us and get instant access to hundreds of premium podcasts and features. Family friendly and fun. WhenItWasCool.com.
Yes, welcome back, Looney listeners, episode 128. This is Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. You are with Rebecca and Ray, and we are going to look at a new comic book which was released just Wednesday past, New Comic Book Day past. It is Conan Serpent War 3. Now, Rebecca, would you mind... Oh, damn, I didn't fill out all the details. Well,
Did you not?
A little. I missed out on editors and letters. Anyway, we've got most of them here.
I can pull them up. I can give you the details.
Okay, if you give me give the details, that'll be great.
So, writer Jim Zub, artist Luca Pizzari, colorist Frank D'Amata, Vanessa Del Rey, the artist, and James Allison sequence, whatever that means.
Yes.
Jean-Francois Beaulieu, the colorist, and for the James Allison sequence. Oh, of course I know what it means. I know, I'm being an idiot. So they're different artists for the James Allison sequence. Fine. VC's Travis Lanham, the letterer. Cover artists Carlos Pacheco, Anike, and Frank D'Amata. I've got a very nice picture of Anik from Aniki, of Hela. That's just a random picture. I won it, so hooray.
Oh, nice.
One of the conventions I go to, they do a ticket where you get a random sketch by one of the people who was attending.
Okay.
And so I got this really cool Hela
fantastic.
picture. Yeah.
Jeez.
I don't think we need the editors and stuff, right? And there's also lots of credits for the Conan property stuff they get apparently.
Blah blah blah.
They get a nod. Blah blah.
You get a nod. And so you mentioned 3 variants. So Marcus Martin, Giuseppe Camuncoli, and Kim Jacinto, released January 2020, not 19. I'm living in the past. Just looking at my notes. I didn't even notice. We're still living in the past. So this is issue 3, and the bare bones for this is as follows. The 4 fighters across space and time track down Set's relics in the hope to destroy his coming power. James Allison and the Wyrm convene to watch and witness the likes of Conan and Dark Agnes in the Hyborian Age, along with Solomon Kane and Moon Knight in the 1500s, to encounter Set sympathisers, and both parties succeed well in culling Set's followers. The mysterious vessels which guide the 2 parties lead them to a bracelet, one in the Hyborian Age and the other in 16th century Europe. The bracelets are to be destroyed simultaneously, and in doing so would strike a massive blow to the god of chaos. James Allison is released from the ethereal hold of the Wyrm, and once he feels his spirit lifted, Allison can't help but acknowledge his hand in helping the Wyrm's own sinister ends. Back in the 2 time periods, Conan almost reaches the bracelet, but is struck down by Satine, Princess of the Serpent. Elsewhere, centuries ahead, Moon Knight reaches the bracelet and its enigmatic words from Khonshu, which compel Moon Knight to put the bracelet on. In a dazzling array of green energy, Moon Knight is seemingly whisked away to another space and time, where the true war is raging. So, that pretty much, sums up. It was action-packed, Rebecca, I think, this issue.
There was a lot of action. I mean, you have to be. You've got 3 time zones and bringing things to a conclusion. So there's lots of fighting. And
you have Conan. he fights a lot.
He fights. He fights and doesn't wear much.
But Looney listeners, for those who are first-time listeners, so we've just given the synopsis. What we do is that we'll go through some main aspects of the issue. Rebecca and I will just discuss them, ranging from writing to art to themes to characterizations and references to any other runs, and we'll cap that off with our moon rating system. So, I guess the first overall impressions, Rebecca, what did you make of this? Did you enjoy the action, or did you feel yourself a little wanting more?
I thought it was fine. I thought it was just, it seemed like almost like comic book by numbers. It was just like, oh, and then we'll have a fight scene, and it doesn't really matter who's fighting, and then there'll be a quip, and then there'll be more fighting, and then we'll move it along. It was fine. It was fine, but it didn't really do anything for me, I have to say.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Writing-wise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
And, well, for me, a bit of art as well. But
I think, well, no, I agree with you. I think where it does come into its own is the colouring.
I'm looking at the cover and I'm thinking exactly that.
I love the jump between Conan and Agnes and then moving to Mark and the different colours, and you get like purples and whites and greens and browns. And it's very obvious. It makes it very visually obvious where you're jumping from one to the other. I guess with the art, the layout as well, like some of it's the Mark and stuff is much more. I don't know if it is actually. I'm just having a quick flick through, but just the panel layouts. But I think mostly it's the colouring.
The colouring,
and the James Allison sequence is very different.
Oh, Vanessa Del Rey and the colorist for that is really good. It actually does lift a little this issue. Unfortunately, there's only like one page or one or two pages of it in this issue.
Yeah,
much of it is.
And then right at the end, we get another color sequence altogether.
Oh, so, with the red,
with the red, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard because if you're judging the middle two issues of a four-parter, there's always a stage of physically trying to put people where they need to be for the ending, and this felt very much like that.
Yeah, it does. It's just, again, it comes back to, I guess, this being a four-parter and the writing, and we spoke about this a little earlier before, Rebecca, as well. It seems that there's, I don't know, I could be really reaching here, but there's not that much investment in this series from those involved. It is very much a setup, and we know there's a Dark Agnes series coming later, written by Tinny Howard. Is she doing it?
Yeah, she's amazing.
I'm looking forward to that, and the cover looks really good. So we know that we're going to get also Conan the Serpent Crown as well, which I think will be a follow-up to this. So this is very much kind of like a springboard to a lot of other titles, and increasingly, like just what you were saying about the real war, this leads me to think this is also taking us straight to the Age of Khonshu. Yeah, absolutely. Whoa, wow! I didn't put that together, because that last thing, that was a bit of a carrot dangling. This true war. When I read it and finished it, I was just thinking, okay, what the hell is happening here now? Like, where is he? Is he in his mind? Is he? How is he? Yeah, this bracelet. We don't know what it's done to him. Has it actually physically transported him to another space? I don't know. And Conan's there as well, so a lot of questions there. So that last page is very interesting because the top panel Moon Knight and the bottom panel Moon Knight are not the same Moon Knight. Oh, you're right. I'm looking at it. Yeah, he's got more of an Egyptian garb at the bottom.
Yeah.
Right.
But
is that Khonshu? That could be Khonshu.
It could be, or it could be not Khonshu. It could be Set. I mean, given that it's talking from a snake in the bottom panel.
Oh, I would have assumed Set was a snake, but
that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
it's not got Khonshu's font.
No. Khonshu would be.
When it says this is no dream, Mark Spector.
Yeah. So that's.
So
Set
I'm guessing
talking.
That's Set talking.
But is that Khonshu? Is that Khonshu wrapped up in Set?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it could be, or if not, it could be in a much earlier avatar of Khonshu.
Oh yeah, could be as well. Ooh, interesting. Because if you look further, there's a cosmos in the background as well.
Yeah. I think we're going cosmic in one way or another.
Yeah, right.
But I just like so okay, but it gives us back to exactly the same problem with the comic, is that it feels like it's set up for something we don't currently care about.
Yeah.
Because there aren't going to be that many people who are fans of all the four characters that they've got in this series.
Yeah.
So it just seems like it's a stepping stone.
It does. And I think there are a lot
It
of...
hasn't.
Sorry.
And I don't know if we need stepping stones or if they could just drop us in the middle of this and say, this is what happened.
Well, I mean, if they're doing stepping stones, I think they've missed a lot of an opportunity here. They've glossed over what I found interesting in it, this whole kind of collecting or destroying the relics to hurt Set and to hunt down these bracelets. It all seems to happen within 23 pages, you know. I would I would love to have seen it drawn out a bit more, and I don't want to say it like that because it's kind of like you're having padding, but no, to actually
I think they also
investigate
possibly know that people wouldn't have paid for it.
Wouldn't have
paid for a long series of it.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I don't
true.
know. I think, you know, like.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I would have much rather had a less decompressed story where we actually got to know all the characters more.
It would just make it seem a lot more epic. I mean, we've got a Hyborian, we've got different space and time. Like we've got different timelines.
Right?
We've got diverse characters from present day Moon Knight to 16th century to Hyborian Age. It just screams something like of the Lord of the Rings scale, but it just we don't get it. It's going to wrap up soon, and Conan and Dark Agnes have found a wagon full of relics, and they just destroy that, and they go to some other place. They destroy. It's like I want to learn more about it. Like, you know, these are important relics, and you see only one page of these Set priests or something just die because those relics are destroyed. I want to know more. Like, you know.
Yeah, me too. For sure.
So I think a lot of the downcomings for the writing is the brevity of the whole thing. And again, it could be editorial. I mean, you know, as you said, would people pay for something longer? Someone just said from just do 4-parters. You know, we've got Serpent Crown and the Age of Khonshu coming. We just want this as a setup. So maybe that's maybe that's it. Because there are other questions like in writing these notes. I've asked as well. Wyrm, this whole Wyrm thing, talking with Allison. He seems quite it seems sinister.
Yeah, it seems really sinister.
It will be revealed just in the last issue, and then that will wrap it up, you know? So,
except we know it's not going to wrap it up. We know it's going to be well, now we're, you know, because these things, I don't know.
Yeah.
It does strike me that it's one of these ones that's going to pop back up again.
And then...
Who knows?
Also as well, I'm just going through these notes here. Khonshu, what did you think of Khonshu talking to Mark and Moon Knight all of a sudden? Was that really... That has to be really Khonshu, right? The font kind of...
I think so. I think so. I think.
But why was he missing? Where was he? Is that because he's been in struggles in the true war with Set? Maybe.
Well, I would say yes. I would say that everything, and like that's him. He's finally got through to Mark, and like this is what you have to do. And it sounds like even the precision of Khonshu, if we're taking this as something that's in any kind of continuity, the precision of Khonshu, the lack of him goading Mark, which is usually his Mark sort of thing. Of
for sure.
Yeah. And he's like going, if you don't do this, we fail. This is the only way. We've come undone. While Allison's saying we're all like, well, you know, like they're all doing these things. And Mark not talking back, just saying, I understand. It's almost like this pause in that relationship of just saying, wait a minute. They seem to actually be talking to each other as like, this is you've got to do this. Okay. And like, no question about it. And I don't know, I mean, this could be uncharacteristic, but if it is within character, then I think it's some kind of thing coming over Mark.
Yeah.
Making him realize it's a big deal. Blah,
I think
blah,
so.
blah, blah.
So I think you're right. I think Khonshu, because I'm just trying to wrap my head around it as well, because there's towards the end of this issue as well, what really got me wondering was it's the second last page, and what Solomon Kane refers to as a rotter. You know how they're holding like a dead head, and there's like a mask thing that Conan and Dark Agnes are talking to, and they're guiding them, you know, to get the bracelet, you know, destroy it so Set gets. Yeah. But then at the end, when Moon Knight puts on the bracelet, they say we were all used. So what I think, Rebecca, here's my massive conspiracy or theory.
No, do it.
So,
we like theories.
okay, so we've got 3 big players. I only thought there were 2 players, and now with this whole we're talking about Age of Khonshu, there's more and more it's coming out. There are 3 big players. We have Set, who's obviously bad. We have Wyrm, this Wyrm who wants to usurp Set for some reason, and has been actively guiding Allison and Conan, Moon Knight, all of them to get Set.
To get this working, yeah.
But then I think the person that whisked Conan away, because Conan got poisoned by that serpent, and he's about to be done by Satine when someone says, "Not yet, loyal servant." Oh, that kind of blows a hole in it. I actually thought that was Khonshu, but it isn't.
No, that's Set.
That's Set.
Isn't it?
So Set actually...
That is definitely the Set font then.
Yes. So Set whisks Conan away to wherever this place is. But why would Set do that to have Conan fight him? Fight Set. I don't understand. So that's what I was edging towards. That's why I thought Khonshu was the one that whisked Conan away. And but yeah, it doesn't make sense now with the font being very much.
But I'm not sure that Conan's fighting those little snakes. I'm not sure they're all in the same place.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Right.
I don't know if that's it's just giving us a final page. I don't know though. It's really unclear, that final panel.
Yeah, he could be fighting like Wyrm's minions. I don't know. You're right.
No, I think I think you're right. Yeah, I don't know. We don't know where.
So it's tantalizingly kind of left.
Yeah, I think maybe he's still fighting Satine's. I don't know.
Oh, you're right. It could be.
I don't know who those little snakes are from. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's confusing, but it looks like we've definitely got Set versus Khonshu, and Mark stomping across some cool terrain. Yeah.
So Khonshu obviously got Mark to wear the bracelet, so his avatar can come to save Khonshu. So that makes sense. But it's just Conan is a little weird as to where he is.
Yeah, we're not sure where Conan is right now. And did you read the text? I didn't read the.
No, I didn't. No, I think I'll go through.
I probably explained it all, but I'm.
Oh right, I always just thought that was a separate story, but
it may be. I don't know. I've not paid any attention to. Oh yeah, it does look like it is.
Yeah, but
Tale of Solomon. I'm not.
Yeah, I was going to go back and read them like one after the other, but
I wasn't. It's too much for me.
Right, so they're Loonies. As you can see, Rebecca and I thinking out loud. Probably...
We liked it more than we thought. There you go.
Yeah,
but only for the last page.
It gave us more food for thought than we thought. So they, Zub did leave a lot of things up in the air there, but again, it still doesn't take away from the length of this overall story, and all that sort of stuff. Art-wise, Rebecca, you mentioned the layouts. I don't know. I just thought it's really hard to explain. This sort of art is I don't hate it. I think it's good, but there just seems to be...
It's functional, but not that interesting to me.
Yeah, there's something missing behind it. I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it. The figures are there. Maybe it's a lack of background or something, or I don't know, but it just seems to be missing something. I don't know what it is. But anyway, I thought that it was serviceable, the art.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It certainly wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. Vanessa Del Rey's art was great. It was good. I love it in conjunction with that colorist. Really, really cool stuff. Unfortunately, we get only a couple of pages of it. One page of it. So with Allison covered in all these worm-like things before it disappears and leaves him free, I thought that was pretty cool. I'm just looking at the themes. Yeah, so Wyrm's true motive, I guess we've discussed, Rebecca, we don't really know.
We don't know. And I think that's some of the problem.
Would you say evil? Have you read Valley of the Wyrm by any chance?
No.
I'm going to have to hit up one of our loonies. I think it was Jordan Haggerty, who he responded after we did the review of issue 1 and said, no, you've got to read Valley of the Wyrm. It actually ties things together But I'm not sure if it reveals any more of the Wyrm. But I don't know. It seems to. I guess we'll just have to wait and see one more issue.
Yeah.
Themes as well. Again, I'll put this in the notes, Rebecca. Jim Zub was talking about this whole how fun and how exciting it is to pit Moon Knight against Solomon Kane because they have such polarizing views. We get a little bit more of it here with Solomon Kane, just calling Moon Knight a pagan and all that, and pagan school. That's a bit pretty much.
It's not really a pagan, but whatever.
Yeah, but that's pretty much the end of it, really. There's not much more. There's only a bit of cajoling between them, but they're not exactly hating each other. They're still kind of.
I don't feel like any of the characters are particularly fleshed out in this.
Yeah,
comic.
Exactly. There's a little bit there.
They could almost be anyone.
Oh yeah! Oh god! It could be actually. Yeah,
you're right. Fighty and
what do you see, Dark Agnes? What did she do? Not much. Like she just fights.
Fighty and female, and in the right kind of time period. And the same with Solomon Kane. Doesn't really matter. It's just like
you don't
someone a bit more.
That was really disappointing. You don't. I was hoping.
Give me someone a bit like Punisher, but the 16th century. That'll do. Give me
I was hoping.
And then Moon Knight for the connection to Khonshu and gods, but it could.
And Moon Knight
but more bombastic. So,
and Moon Knight being very modern, the way he speaks and stuff.
Yes.
They are,
you needed someone very modern who had a reason to be there.
Yeah, to really kind of contrast the two. But I was really disappointed. I wanted to know more about Solomon Kane, and there's not much here.
Yeah, I would, because I'd like to know more about them and how they fit in with it. And
So I guess with the themes there. Again, it's only very lightly touched upon, which I guess is what we're always, both Rebecca and I are saying across the board in this event. And I'm just looking through characterizations. We mentioned Moon Knight's a little bit light-hearted, informal nature, more modern speak. And we talked about Khonshu picking his battles. This whole thing actually has thrown a bit of new light, Rebecca. It wasn't as bad as I thought now, with the understanding that there may be an Age of Khonshu event coming up.
I know, but I find it hard. I mean, I sometimes think, I agree with you. Talking about it has made me like it more, but I don't think that's how comics should be judged. I mean, I go into a shop and I still go and buy the $3.50 or whatever, and if I'm not enjoying what I actually read, I shouldn't have to be, in a few months' time I'll be able to blow some more money on one that actually made this one worthwhile. Yeah. So I agree, but it was still very frustrating to me that we couldn't just get a good story.
No. True, and look, if we didn't have this to review on the show, we wouldn't have gone through it and have kind of teased out these things. Exactly as you say. The impression I got when I read this and finished it was the impression I get for a lot of mediocre comics that I read. Like you read it, and you kind of go, yeah, okay, that was a comic. Okay, now what now? What next? Whereas the good comics, you'd read it and you go, wow, that was pretty cool, and it kind of sticks with you a bit longer. This does not stick with me at all. It's just another one of the countless numbers of comics that you go through, and that's not a good sign, really. Especially if it has a character that you're invested in. It should be something that really sticks with you, even to the point where. Even if you're a one-eyed Moon Knight fan, you would have a lot more inclination to love this more because you'd be biased, right? You'd love it because your character's in there. Yeah. But the fact that he's in it and still kind of indifferent about the whole issue, it kind of speaks volumes. Yeah.
No, it's for sure. It's just it just shows that, I don't know, I just think that it could have been told at the start of an event differently. We could have started the event and told this maybe in a couple of issues in back, in sort of flashbacks, rather than having this as a thing.
Even better, you have it as like a prelude or whatever. You have it annual sized.
Admit that it's like a prelude to it and do it,
and just have a 36-page. You can compress it to 36 and just have it as a prelude. This is issue 0 or whatever, and then you have your event. But to have it as 4 issues to try and tease out, what's that, $12 from to buy this. It will probably go well in a collected edition, right? This with the whatever Serpent Crown and whatever Age of Khonshu.
Yeah.
That would
and
cool.
once we get that, then it's again like when we have more information, maybe we can revisit this. But at the moment, it just feels very bitty.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
In an age when comics are more expensive, this one wouldn't be on my radar. Like it doesn't mean it's bad; it just doesn't mean it's good either. So
yeah, I think that's probably the best way to put it. More leaning towards the bad. Anyway, Rebecca, let's go to our moon rating system now. We have the choice here. Our fine high priest Khonshu as a rating system, or we have our vanilla rating, Rebecca. We both know what we gave this, so I'll ask you first. Then, what would you give this issue 3 of Conan and Serpent War?
I gave it 4.5, which on Connor's rating is between a telephone and half the moon. I don't know what he means by a telephone moon. I also don't care. What a weirdo. And in your rating is a waxing present, slightly to half the moon.
Yes, sorry. It's exactly. I went for a 5.5, slightly more than Rebecca. Again, we had a little short, sharp conversation about this rating. 5 out of 10, right down the middle, is a comic book that, it wasn't a labour to read. So this wasn't a labour to read, but it's not much more than that, really. There's nothing, I don't gain anything out of this other than just reading it. And Rebecca, you're less so. You found this a pain to read, then, I guess. I found it just below okay. Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Yeah,
but
I know where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like it's still hovering around the 5 line of it's fine, but I was just trying to think, would I recommend it to someone? And as it stands, no. So that's what dropped it below the 5.
Yeah.
Like if they're a massive fan of any of the characters, maybe, but like I don't know if it serves any of them great yet. Now, if it becomes a good little trade, like if issue 4 kicks it out the park.
Oh gosh, you're banking on a lot there, Rebecca.
No, but I'm saying, but if it does, then that could elevate the whole collection to one that you recommend. But this on its own, it just seemed very get from A to B with no real love behind it. I think I spoke to Connor just before I came on, and I think they said something like, I think it was Connor, it may have been somebody else, who said it felt very much like fanfic. And not in a bad way. No, because some fanfic's very well written.
Exactly.
I think what they meant was it feels like somebody picking the characters they would like to write, engineering a reason for them all to be together that doesn't entirely work, and then throwing things at it to try and make it work. And I kind of agree with that. So
I kind of agree as well. I mean, like, is there any reason why Conan and Moon Knight are in this? Like, they're separate for most of they've been separate.
Not that we know about yet. Yeah. So like.
Yeah. As well. So it's a shame these characters have not been used to a better potential. I'd say not their full potential, but there we go. There we go, Loonies. A little scathing. Not scathing, just, we're just honest. That's all. If you did enjoy it, by all means, that's fantastic. And we only do speak of our own opinions, and these are our views. There's nothing wrong if you do love it, of course. It's fine. Everyone has different tastes. Now, Rebecca, just to wrap up, I'm just mindful of the time. Let's go through. There are only a couple of Serpent War 3 relevant feedback from our Loonies, so I'll hold off on the other feedback for other particular episodes that we've done a bit later. But let's go through this. We got a couple through our Facebook group. I'll take the short one, Rebecca, because,
Okay.
Fine. And the first one comes from, I'd like to say, Moon Min. He's one of the hosts of Moon Knight Core, a fantastic Facebook page. Go check him out. These guys are awesome. They've been on the show as well. A massive following. And Bobby Lounders. And he says, the story is maybe a bit too fast-paced for me to call it great, but Moon Knight's characterization has been spot on. Thank you, Bobby. Too fast-paced, absolutely. Moon Knight's characterization, Yeah, I'd say it's kind of on there. How would you take that, Rebecca?
I think it's all right. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's off. I don't.
No.
I mean, like spot on more than we've seen in some things. I'm just not sure we've seen a huge amount of him, but it's
No.
I like that the quips are slightly less.
Yes,
and,
me too.
And he seems competent, and I really like that bit at the end there where he just seems to get what Khonshu wants and just does it.
Yeah, you're right. So I
do like that.
I think the relationship between he and Khonshu really does reinforce his characterization here, which is good. And as we've mentioned, this is the way it seems that Moon Knight is going forward. More of this relationship with Khonshu, more of the Egyptian mythos. So so very good. And we have another one there, Rebecca.
From Chad.
Yep.
He said, this was even deeper in sleep than James Allison. We finally got the crux of the adventure where we realised that this Wyrm is pulling the strings through time. There's a lot of stuff happening on all three fronts, but other than pulling the curtain on Oz, nothing significant. I predicted as much from the previous issue, and this one hardly seemed to own the ground it stood on. More of a part 2 than an issue 3. It gets a pretty basic 4 out of 10 from me.
Whee! Maybe
Khonshu is too weak to shed blessed moonlight on this installment.
Thank you, Chad. The power of Chad there. Pretty much sharing our sentiments there, Rebecca.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happening, but, at the end of the day, nothing really that significant. I mean, there was a little bit of a motivation, obviously, hunting down these bracelets and relics, but as mentioned, it was glossed over.
Yeah.
Nothing too much. The only interesting bits, as you can hear, listeners, were the last page, which I think Rebecca and I spent most of the time on in this issue.
And to be fair, the bracelet at the end is literally the definition of a Deus Ex Machina.
Yes.
So it's like, we'll get the god to come and tell us what to do.
Yeah.
But it's good. We'll do it. I am looking forward to the last one. It makes it sound like I'm not. It's like I want it to end well. I want to see what the new status quo is.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. But it's as it is.
Yeah.
I wanted more from it.
Yeah, me too. So, having said that, Loonies, if you haven't picked it up, I'd urge you to at least try it. Definitely, and make out your own judgment for it. From what we've said, issue 4 could be really good. I mean, so it actually has us kind of looking forward, looking towards.
Yeah,
issue
I'm
4.
Definitely looking forward to it. But I mean, I guess my thing would be like wait and buy it in trade. Is at this point I wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, it does have me. Issue is like it's almost like you almost get this case of like when they announce these things, it's almost worth just saying I'll just buy the final issue.
Yeah.
Because so many of these little minis are setting stuff up. But I am looking forward to it.
Yeah. So excellent. So in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be looking at the last issue, which should be pretty good because they come out bi-weekly, which is good. They will be kind of done, and then I think Conan Serpent Crown comes out, which it'd be interesting to see if the bracelets and any more of the relics are related to the Serpent Crown. We know Serpent Crown's got a bit more of a richer history in the Marvel Universe, so we do know more about that, and very much connected to Set. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, that wraps up our review for this episode. Thank you so much, Loonies, for listening and sticking with it. I hope you enjoyed it. Next phase, we have a last quarter, which means our segment is going video games, and it's an Avatars of Vengeance review. We will be looking at Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Now, we had this slotted in a while ago, but scheduling made it not possible. But we'll have a special guest, Joey Agliato, one of the recent Loonies, came on board last year. He did his crazy, Rebecca. He read the whole Moon Knight canon, I think in about a week or so, just to get up to speed with Moon Knight, and he released a podcast episode actually himself.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I did it in like about a month, I think, when I decided to do it, but it's been a long time for me.
It's due for a reread, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
So looking forward to have Joey on there as well. Finally, we are part of the collective as well. There's a whole band of podcasts out there with similar ideas, and we have banded together it's a great way to bounce ideas off each other, cross promote, and just to push each other forward. So we have the likes of EMP, the Earth's Mightiest podcast, We Are Venomaniacs, a Venom podcast, or Weird Science. They do DC and Marvel comic book reviews. Very handy there as well. But there's a whole slew of podcasts for you to check out. Go check them out. Character-based or geek culture-based. It's all good. Finally, on the show notes, you can check out where you can find us and links to it, but we're pretty much on email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We have a Discord server, and as mentioned at the top of the show, we recently have a Patreon page now, so please consider having a look at the tiers, see if anything suits you, seeing if you want to support the show in any way. It will be very much appreciated. And Podchaser as well, Rebecca. I've put us on there as well. So that's pretty fun. Cool. It's a fun website. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us. For this, it is great. As you said at the top of the show, like Moon Knight, it's great when you come in. You're like a new title, a new series of Moon Knight. It's refreshing, and it's always fun to chat comics with you.
Yes, it's really, really, it is nice to catch up, and it's nice to talk Moon Knight again. I've been away from everything for a long time and just getting back into the comics, so it's nice to have sort of focus to it, and it's been fun. I hope to do it again sometime.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, of course, depending on your schedules and stuff like that, I mean, we do have issue 4. It'd be great to actually wrap it up if we can. Yeah,
I would love to actually do the look forward to what might come next. I love speculating.
Or who knows, we might have a special episode where we review Guardians with Hercules or something. That will be for some random reason.
If you ever have a reason to slip Hercules in there, just
Yeah, for sure. No, a big thank you once again. And yes, Loonies, you can catch us on all sorts of podcast catchers. You're listening to one now, so we're on that one, and we're on all these other ones as well. Time for us to go. As always, may Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
See you.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information, or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.